Happy St. Patrick's Day, everyone. I'm your host, fucking Dave, and welcome to the shit show that I like to call Everybody Dies. What better way to celebrate a fake holiday than feeding into stereotypes and hurting an entire group of people by getting drunk and reviewing a fucking Leprechaun movie? And no, we're not reviewing a so bad it's good Leprechaun movie like Leprechaun in Space. We're saving a Warwick Davis movie for the finale. And no, I'm not going to be getting drunk this episode. I'm also doing that for the finale. We're watching the worst entry in the series. The one that doesn't even belong in the franchise and isn't related by anything other than the title and a recycled one-liner. Of course, I'm talking about the origin story, but not really. We're watching Leprechaun Origins. Leprechaun False Advertising was released in 2014. Director Zach Liposuction has made a short career out of touching properties he has no business touching, as he's helped piss on the graves of not only Leprechaun, but Dead Rising, Kim Possible, and Fraggle Rock. Starring Dylan Postel of Wrestling and Muppets fame, replacing Warwick Davis as the titular Leprechaun, which makes sense taking into account his WWE gimmick for many years. Too bad he's not actually playing a leprechaun in this prequel of an established franchise called Leprechaun. More on that later. Starring people who actually have careers, great or not, which is rare for my show, but this is a WWE production, so though there might not have been talent to make the movie, there sure as fuck was a lot of money. I would list the cast and what else they've been in, but I've stated for years now, this is not an informative horror channel. Quite the opposite. I expect you to be dumber by the end of every video. One thing I will point out, and no offense to the actor, but if you see this guy in your project, then it's probably going to be bad. This was also produced by WWE Studios, who has released a plethora of action movies. Unfortunately, there's 50 bad for every one that's decent. They've had surprisingly better luck with horror, somehow. See No Evil 1 and 2, Oculus, and some knockoff of my show called No One Lives. But they've all gotten mid to good reviews, so it makes sense that they would make another horror movie. Kinda weird that it would be part of an already established franchise, however. Well, that's enough info. Life is short and so am I. The book by Dylan Postel, available now. And on to the review for Leprechaun Origins. That wasn't funny at all. I don't know why I said it. One thing is sure, WWE has the money to get good locations and cinematography. Don't be fooled though, this is 100% Canada and not Ireland. We waste the next 4 minutes by jumping into some shit that's already happening. These two are running from something short and pissed, and they have really bad vision apparently. Right off the bat, this movie establishes that there is something short, because of the grass, attacking people, and that the tone is going to be more tense and scary. Oh, so nothing like every other movie in the franchise you're trying to shoehorn yourself into. Good job. Instead of good acting and funny, rhyming dialogue, here's some snarling and nothing else. I, for one, think Dylan Postel could have done something interesting with the role, but we'll get more into all that later. Anyway, whoever they are, they're dead. Here's a lazy title card and some more scenery. Fast forward through the boring-ass credits and we see our cast backpacking through Vancouver with an Ireland travel guide. Smart. The driver gets scared and refuses to drive them any further because he knows that they film shitty movies down that way. The gang sees the monolith from the beginning, that won't have any relevance later I'm sure, before stumbling onto the set of Duck Dynasty. So these two are a couple, and these two are a couple. A couple of what? I'm not sure.
There must be some mistake.
You're in Canada. Tell me if you've heard this one. A group of American tourists walk into a bar and all the locals glare at them. I don't get it. They talk a little before the token nosy local overhears them talking about history, and he mentions something about some stone statues of the gods or some shit, in a cave 7 hours away no one knows about, and these idiots go with him. Guess what happens next? Well, we'll see. Nosy local Hamish and his son Sean, pick up Ben, Sophie, Dave, and Jennifer. Sean does his best Norman Reedus impression when he arrives. They drive for a while, and the cast becomes less and less likable as they cliché think they're better than the locals and downplay their hardships because Hamish has a Rolex someone gave him. Yeah, he probably killed a prick like these or fed them to Hornswoggle and stole the watch, but let's not jump to conclusions, though this is cliché as hell so far. They arrive at a rundown house and Hamish sees something and shoots into the field. He claims that it was a wild boar, but the only wild boar I see is the movie that I am currently watching. This house looks like shit and has no electricity, and somehow these privileged assholes don't complain. Box office cancer here continues to piss off the locals, however, and they leave them for the night, leaving the gold watch on the door. After I get done masturbating to this scene, 10 seconds go by and the cast and I fall asleep. 23 minutes in, we awake to thumping on the door. Someone let Swoggle outside the potty and forgot to let him back in. Whichever one this is, I think she's Ben, sees something run by the window and wakes everyone up. She's terrified and we all laugh at her because we're good friends. Then they realize that they are locked inside the house. Something snarls and takes the watch. Then an out-of-focus elf comes down the chimney and rips David's earring out. I think she was David, right? And here's our first clear but quick look at the Leprechaun. Nailed it. What happens next in Goblin Origins or Mole Rat Origins or whatever the fuck that is, it's definitely not a Leprechaun Origins, is irrelevant because I'm already beyond pissed off. Look how they massacred my boy. How do you take this and dare make this? And why cast someone like Dylan Postel just to bury him in prosthetics and give him no goddamn lines? Literally anyone could have done this role. Swoggle agrees and does not have much positive to say about the movie, the misleading casting, and how he was also paid the least of everyone despite having his character be the fucking title. Oh, WWE Studios, you fucked up good this time. From here on, I am going to try and judge this as a standalone film. It's only fair. Comparing it to the rest of the franchise is a fight it will never win. Let's judge it as a standalone and go from there. Too bad there's less than an hour left and it's been a complete cliché fucking bore so far. The Necrogoblicon chases them around using his gold vision or cataracts or whatever the fuck this is, snarling all the while before they lock themselves in another room. Hornswoggle gets sick of waiting for his cue and knocks the fucking door in. They run to the next room and climb out the secret chimney passageway. Hobgoblin here chews on David's leg a bit and everyone takes off forgetting that they are 7 hours from anywhere. Then they leave David to die, which is the funniest fucking thing I've ever seen. Hey! His girlfriend actually gives a shit and saves him. What the fuck? Good friends. They find another house and take what happened seconds ago very lightly.
Just fucking leave me out there.
Take it easy.
Where were you?
That's it, not even an apology, and they never speak of it again. They spend the next part of the movie walking around, exploring in the dark, in the dirty house, looking at things, filling the runtime, and wasting hours. Cut to the locals feeling bad about feeding Americans to professional wrestlers to no one's surprise. Apparently their ancestors mined a cave and took the gold, so they have to feed people to the pissed off monster. No time or money for a flashback, so they just mention it in passing. Then we cut back to Wild Boar Origins, where they find the convenient book of explaining your current situation. It's even open on the exact page that they need. It has a drawing of the monster and claims it's a leprechaun.
Come on. Leprechaun?
I'm just telling you what it says. There must be some mistake.
But this is how they justify this stupid monster in their desperate attempt to connect it to the series. Fucking pathetic. So the stones they were looking for have magic in them because this version of the Leprechaun obviously doesn't, ridding any real threat he might have been, and instead of making Halloween masks kill kids, they act as an invisible fence for the monster. Like dogs. Woof. The locals find the group and lock them in the basement. I'm sorry, but how does an entire town not stand a chance against a magicless little fucknut like this? Yes, he's fast and bitey, but that's it. Not worth all this trouble feeding backpackers to it. The group breaks out and head for the stones while some of the locals get killed by Vince McMahon's son. As this is the most cliche horror movie ever made, a random person has to drive by and the group blindly trust her, get in the car, and she immediately takes them to the bad guys. And just look at this guy's face. Fucking amazing acting. He looks bored and regular as shit, as if he hasn't been through hell for the past 24 hours. What a fucking Oscar-worthy scene here. God damn. The locals tie them to trees like hippies covered in more gold than Mr. T. Seriously? I can't. The Leprechaun shows up, and notice how they still barely show it on screen, like they were embarrassed by their own work. I feel for Swoggle. He really got fucked over. Anyway, we get some awful gore effects, like a gold stud ripped out of a tongue and a gut slashing. There has been very little blood or gore throughout, and what little there has been not good. So David, despite having a half-chewed leg and now a slashed open stomach, gets free and hobbles away.
Dad! Don't leave us! Don't leave us! Hey!
I'll be there for you. I'll be there for you.
David comes back, sets them all free, and then this happens. My fucking god. The group of really good friends head back to the cabin because they want to kill the monster that they just ran away from. What? These might be the worst written characters I've ever seen in my entire life. I'll take breakfast and double cut master slice 'em up, dice 'em up, OG my man so nice J nice any day over these Xeroxed shit paper fucks. There's a half hour left. I can't anymore. He dies off screen. He's never seen again, so I guess he dies. Everybody dies. Alright, Jennifer or whoever runs around, hides, runs, hides, and runs for 30 minutes before she finally stumbles upon the graveyard from the beginning of the movie where the nameless couple left a machete and a backpack filled with gold coins. And then this happens.
Fuck you, Lucky Charms!
Fuck you, Lucky Charms.
So, were those the stones? Is this the stone? Were there ever any stones? And never mind the magic and all that shit. You mean to tell me that an entire town couldn't decapitate a 4'5" monster, but this one idiot could? Anyway, she runs through a field, and this is how the movie ends. Cut to 12 minutes of end credits. Wipe my hands clean of that. Now, truth be told, I'm a member of a wrestling group run by Swoggle and his friends, so I was going to try to be nice about the movie. I had seen it before and remembered nothing about it except that I didn't like it. So I decided to give it another chance with my show, and holy fuck, it's so much worse than I remember. I still met Swoggle at a con and got my Blu-ray signed. You know, it's cool as hell that he was in a horror movie as a monster. It's not his fault that it turned out to be shit. He was probably the best part of the movie with the very tiny screen time that he had. Anyway, as I mentioned before, the next episode is the finale. If you thought this episode was bad, you haven't seen shit yet, and shit it is. Next episode, on the finale, we're getting skinned deep. I'm so sorry. I'm fucking Dave, and thanks for watching this shit show that I like to call Everybody Dies.